So what Rav Kook says, creativity is the spiritual process. What he goes on to say is that the inner essence of the soul, which reflects, which lives the true spiritual life, must have absolute inner freedom. It experiences its freedom, which is life, through its originality in thought, which is its inner spark that can be fanned to a flame through study and concentration. So he's saying you have to take inner concepts, these inner spark that you carry, these ideas, these thoughts that come through your mind, and really work on them to make them come into being. But it's not, you can't force it. It has to come through you. You have to be able to express it. A lot of people are so busy trying to live in the physical material world that they don't know how to let go and create. Even if it's your own self you're creating, your own life you're creating, you have to learn how to let go of the rigidity, the confines of what you think is limiting you, and step into this release of what's inside of you. In a loving way, in a respectful way, realize that every one of us is carrying what we need in us. Every one of us is carrying what we need to know about ourselves inside of us. So even if we're what we're creating, we humans are the ones we're creating, we have to work on getting in touch with what's inside of us so that we can express it, even if it's simply our own being that we're expressing. Am I making it clear? Am I too confusing? What?
No, it's wonderful, I think.
Do you understand it? I mean, is it, yeah. Because this is very deep. I mean, this is not a simple thing to understand. So I realize I'm saying things that I've studied over years to know. So, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'd love some questions to see if you have any questions about it. If you
I mean, maybe more of a comment, maybe a question that, like I found that you're talking about art, but I found even in like more day-to-day jobs, I mean, for me, social work, but computer programming, whatever, martial arts is an excellent example because on the surface it just seems like a lot of hitting and grappling and stuff like that, but it really can be the same thing. Like, you can do it with love, you can do it with creativity.
Yes.
I can do I can get people linked up to different services with creativity or just from a very mechanical place.
Right. But let me go through it, and I think you'll get the idea as we go through it. The inner essence of the soul, which reflects, which lives the true spiritual life, must have absolute inner freedom. So when you focus on what's going on inside of you, and you honor it, and you respect it, and you tune into it, you listen to it, and the Shema prayer always says listen, right? So it's listening to the deepest part of you, and you can learn how to ignite this creative source in you and make it blossom. But the inner spark is the basis of imagination and thought. If the autonomous spark should not be given scope to express itself, then whatever may be acquired from the outside will be of no avail. In other words, if something is going on inside of you, and again, I guess he's repeating what he said before, if you don't give it the chance to express itself, we have so much going on inside of us. We have this amazing source inside of us. We have this amazing creative source inside of us because we're made in the image of this source. And if we don't express it, then it's not going to go anywhere. But we have this creativity in us. He says this spark must be guarded in its purity, and the thought expressing the inner self in its profound truth, its greatness and majesty must be aroused. This holy spark must not be quenched through any study or probing. So in other words, don't question the thrill of it. Don't question the joy of it. I don't know if you've ever been involved in creative works or creative acts of some kind. I'm sure you have along the way. It's taking what you have inside of you and expressing it. And he says, don't quench it. Let it go. In other words, relax. Let it happen. Let it come through you. So again, it's this, don't barricade yourself into just the physical world. There needs to be the understanding that inside of you is more than just your physical being. You're not just bones and flesh and whatever else we have going on inside of us physically. There's more to you than this. There's much more than that to you, to each one of us, because we're made in the image of this higher consciousness. The uniqueness of the inner soul in its authenticity, this is the highest expression of the seed of divine light. The light planted for the righteous, from which will bud and blossom the fruit of the tree of life. So he's bringing religion into this, the Judaism into this, the teachings of Judaism, and saying that when you are able to express what is inside of you into the world, you are expressing the tree of life. You're expressing the love, really, the respect for humanity, the compassion for humanity. So it can be anything that you're trying to do, whether it's to write a letter or to write a song or to write a book or to draw something or to build something. Creativity comes in all its forms, in writing, in singing, in dancing, in building, in designing, and you're a social worker, so it would be the way you work with people. You're creating something for them to be creative themselves. So you're having to do what I'm doing, which is to have people learn how to create their own self. Right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that what you're doing?
Ideally.
That's the plan,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. But that's what I'm doing too.
Yeah, I just think I just see creativity often gets pigeonholed into the arts.
Yes.
Like painting, drawing,
right,
music.
But it's not, as I said, it's we're creating our own lives.
Yeah.
Because we've been made in the image of this creative source who created the whole universe and the whole planet.
What you were saying.
You getting it?
Yeah.
Okay. It takes time because this is so complex to explain. Even when you're a creative person, you understand it a little bit better because you know the process of creativity. You have to know how to grow in awareness. It's not something that you can do by rote. You can't. It's not an intellectual process. It's a developmental process that expands your thought process and creates more dimensions of thought and creates more awareness of yourself and everything else around you, other people, other things. This is all. It's not linear. It's not a straight line. And in Judaism, they'll often say it's circular. You're going circular space and you're going up and up and up gradually. So there's a wonderful teaching about the circular staircase where life can get so confusing because you get on the staircase wherever you're going. You think you're going straight, and you're going up, and then you find halfway around that you're facing back the way you came. And on a circular staircase, right? So then it looks and feels like you're not really making progress. But as Rabbi Simon Jacobson taught me this one, when you keep going and you continue on your journey, you find yourself exactly where you need to be, and you're facing the right way again. So it's a circular staircase. You're going up. So we get inspired. We get inspiration from the higher consciousness of the universe. We gradually absorb it and start to understand it in our own mind. You get an idea. That idea comes from the higher consciousness. You think it's yours, but it's given to you. When you get an idea, you suddenly get an idea, where does it come from? It comes from the higher source, and it's come into you. This is a whole other conversation, really. And then you have to understand it. You have to take it and work with it. I know in architecture, my experience has been that I'm given a project, I have to work on it, study it, research it, until I can absorb it in my mind. And then a concept comes. But then that concept is just the beginning. Then I have to understand that concept in greater detail. I have to broaden it out and stretch it. And then I can work on it and create a drawing of it and then have it built. So it's a whole process. And he's saying, when you have that understanding, when you get an idea and you can understand it and bring it into the world, he says that's the highest expression of spiritual progress. So we're really moving forward when you get a thought and you can express it in the world. That's what creativity is. It is the spiritual process. That's why it's so thrilling to create and to express things, because you're expressing God's creativity through yourself. We are instruments of creativity. We are the instruments that God uses to bring what God, who's invisible, bring that into the world through us. And that's why it gives us so much joy. I was talking before about harmony, that we create harmony when we do this. We create a flow of harmony in a community. When people go to see someone singing or dancing or acting, everybody's in the same process together. They're creating harmony. And that's why there's so much joy that comes from it. Love is not from another person. Love is inside of us. Love is the inner sensation within the self. Love is the inner sensation within the self. We have this inside of us. We might think it comes to us from someone else, but it's really already inside of us.